The New York Rangers definitely have more than one area of need to try and upgrade this offseason if they truly want to get back on track to being a Stanley Cup contender and have the chance to potentially go on a long playoff run. And of course, the main area of need, the biggest area that needs an upgrade this offseason, in my opinion, is absolutely the New York Rangers defense core. It needs to see an upgrade happen this offseason. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at 5 potential trade targets for the Rangers to try and toughen up their defense core and just make it a better overall unit. And these 5 targets are from a Yahoo Sports article, so we'll have that linked in the description if you want to give it a read for yourself. But let's get right into things here and take a look at the first of 5 trade targets for the Rangers. And the first guy we're going to take a look at here is Edmonton Oilers defenseman Darnell. Now, this is a pretty interesting guy to take a look at because I don't think it's likely he would get dealt, but there is a scenario where it does make a lot of sense for the Oilers to actually try and, trade him away. Now, I think first off, they obviously have a guy like Evan Bouchard, who is a phenomenal defenseman. He is their kind of number one guy, you could say. And with Evan needing a massive new contract this offseason now, he is an RFA, of course, so he has arbitration eligibility. He's going to get a massive new payday. His previous contract was only $3.9 million, so he's going to get, I would say, definitely more than double that. He's going to get well over $8 million plus there, I guarantee that. And then with a guy like, of course, Connor McDavid also needing a new extension this offseason to kick in, not for next season, but the one after that, to me, it definitely would make a bit of sense there to try and unload a contract like Darnell, who he's always getting paid quite a bit of money. They're about $9.25 million per season. He's not quite earning that money, so it would make a bit of sense to me to try and unload that deal. And are the Rangers the perfect team for Darnell to come to, with the Rangers not being in the kind of best spot cap-wise, you could say, overall, and already having, quite a few decent-sized deals locked up to some kind of, not necessarily old players, but some guys who are already on the wrong side of 30. To me, bringing in a guy like Darnell probably isn't the right fit for this team, but for another team, it definitely could make a bit of sense. But yes, his kind of play style is not bad at all. He's 6'4" guy, left-handed shot defenseman, 215 pounds, brings a lot of physicality, can be a decent puck-moving guy, brings some good kind of defensive play there, can kill penalties, can be a power play guy here as well, here and there, help contribute offensively. So he's an all-around pretty solid defenseman, but not quite that kind of, guy that I think makes sense for this team with this massive cap that he does have right now, and him having, 4 more years left after this season right now with a cap at over $9 million. And next up here, we've got defenseman Jamie Oleksiak of the Seattle Kraken. And personally, I don't think he can be quite the best defenseman added in this offseason, but if this team were able to trade away a guy like a Carson Soucy and then pick up someone like Jamie to kind of replace him, and then you also go out there and are able to add in a guy like, let's say, Vladislav Gavrikov or an Ivan Provorov or a Bowen Byram to go on top of adding in Jamie Oleksiak, then now this New York Rangers defense core could easily be a top 10 one, especially if you had some other guys like a Braden Schneider finally take that step up. But I truly think if you added in a guy like Jamie and another true top 4 kind of higher-end guy, this would instantly change this D-core to a much, much better one. And I'm not trying to overrate Jamie here, but I just think he is exactly kind of what this team has been lacking for quite some time now on the back end. He's not some true kind of high-end second pairing kind of defenseman. What he is a very solid, reliable one at that. He's 6'7", about 252 pounds. He's a left-handed shot guy, 32 years old, has a lot of experience in this league now, brings some good toughness, the physicality, some great size there, of course. He can block a lot of shots there. And of course, he can also help kill penalties. But the main thing there is he's just bringing some great size to this back end there. And that's what this D-core has been lacking, is a big kind of tough defenseman on the back end, I think. And this is exactly what Jamie Oleksiak is. Now, he does have 1 more year left under contract with a $4.6 million cap hit. So that's kind of why, to me, it only makes sense to add in a guy like Jamie if you are able to trade away a guy like Carson Soucy, who's making, a little over 3. I think he's at 3.25 for just 1 more season. So you're paying an extra 1.35 mil, you could say, about that there for a guy like Jamie over the cap hit of Carson. But I think if you can kind of make that upgrade there, just kind of the 1-for-1 kind of swap, I'm not saying 1-for-1 kind of player trade there, but I'm saying if you can trade out Soucy and add in a guy like Jamie there, and you're kind of swapping them out for each other, that's a pretty clear upgrade there in itself. And then you also upgrade somewhere else and add in a guy like a Gavrikov or a Provorov or a Byram. To me, like I said, that could be exactly what this D-core needs to kind of see happen in this offseason and turn it into an actual really good defense core, in my opinion. And with Jamie entering the last year of his contract and the Seattle Kraken not being in kind of a full-on kind of win-now mode, to me it does make a lot of sense for them to look to trade him away unless they do find some kind of extension at some point this offseason. Next up here, we've got Luke Schenn, who once again, like Jamie, I don't think can be the best defenseman added in this offseason, but I still do think would be a great ad for this kind of third pair of the Rangers. He's a great kind of veteran defenseman there, 35 years old, 6'2", 225-pound right-handed shot defenseman, has already won 2 Stanley Cups, and is a guy who brings an insane amount of physicality. He had 300 hits this past season there and only 76 games played. The season before that had 202 there. In the past, he's always consistently had like well above 200 hits for the most part there in each season. So he's a very physical player, can block a good amount of shots as well. Not going to bring much offensively, but can just be, a solid, reliable, more defensive defenseman there who brings a lot of physicality, some good toughness, a lot of veteran experience and kind of leadership as well. So I think adding in a guy like that, like I said, would be a pretty smart and good move. Won't cost a lot. Has a cap hit of $2.75 million for just one more season. But of course, I definitely wouldn't want to see him be the best and kind of only defenseman this team adds in this offseason. And next up here, we've got Ben Chiarot, who I think would be a pretty decent ad possibly for this team. He is, of course, 34 years old now, though, so getting up there in age a bit. He is on the Red Wings, and they're a team who are obviously trying to kind of push towards the playoffs there. Almost got it this year, but kind of fell short towards the end. So not quite sure why they'd want to move on from a guy like this, but he does have one more year left with a cap hit of $4.75 million. And he is, like I said, 34 years old, 6'3", left-handed shot defenseman, about 224 pounds, brings a lot of physicality, some good toughness, veteran leadership, of course, blocks a lot of shots there. Just a good, kind of solid, reliable defensive defenseman there, can help kill penalties, but of course, offensively is not going to bring a whole lot. So kind of some of the similarities with guys like Jamie and, of course, Luke Schenn as well. I think it'd be a solid ad for this team, but once again, kind of really can't be that best defenseman added in my opinion. I think you definitely still want to see a guy like a Provorov or, of course, a Gavrikov or even a guy like Bowen Byram also added in if you're going after a guy like Jamie or Ben or, of course, Luke as well. Next up here, we've got another guy who I think, once again, just like the last kind of 3 guys I talked about, can't be the best defenseman added in this offseason for this team, and I just think isn't quite that level, but still could be a pretty good ad for this team and more of a kind of bottom pairing role, and this player is Radko Gudas. He is, of course, currently of the Anaheim Ducks, and he has one more year left under contract with them with a cap hit of just $4 million, so may need a little help kind of retaining some money there, but hey, I still think Radko could be a decent kind of addition for this team. He brings a lot of toughness, a lot of physicality. We know that. Of course, 261 hits last season there, has previously had a season where he had 355 hits in one season there and only 77 games played. So he is a very physical player, blocks a lot of shots, can bring some decent veteran leadership, I guess you could say, has a bit of playoff experience there. Nothing too crazy, honestly, but definitely has quite a bit there. 57 games played overall so far in his NHL career. Not going to bring much offensively, but like I said, physically, defensively, that's where he kind of stands out and is his best, but not some elite kind of shutdown guy, but can be a solid kind of bottom pairing guy for this Rangers team, in my opinion, if he got traded here, and of course, brings that toughness and physicality that this decor has definitely been lacking for quite some time now. Anyways, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. I think, overall, this team clearly needs to make a big upgrade on the back end there. And I think, 4 of those 5 probably aren't quite at that level. I think Darnell could be, but I think he's the kind of least likely to be dealt there. And with him having that massive cap hit, just probably isn't the right fit for this Rangers team. But of course, the rest of those 4 guys that I named there, the last 4, especially a guy like Oleksiak, I think would be such a great addition for this team and could really have a massive impact. So let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this video. Who are your favorite targets out of the bunch here? Do you like Jamie Oleksiak the most, Luke Schenn, Ben Chiarot? Do you like Radko Gudas, or is it Darnell Nurse? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll catch you next one. And of course, don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. I'll catch you next one, and bye.